Hello, hello. Those of you who listen regularly know that I'm on a summer break, spending some time with my family, but I don't want to leave you with nothing. So I am rerunning the most downloaded favourite episodes of all time. This week, it was so good, I didn't even have to do any editing or updating. I absolutely loved it. I hope you do too. Hello, I'm Rachel Richards and welcome to Teenagers Untangled, the audio hug where we use research by experts and our own experience to discuss everything and anything to do with parenting teenagers.
Hi, I'm Susie Asley, mindfulness coach, mindful therapist and musician, a mother of 3 teenagers, 2 of them are twins.
As a parenting coach, mother of 2 teenagers and 2 bonus stepdaughters, I've seen the transformative power of getting people together to share ideas and support each other. So here we are, welcome, pull up a chair and let's begin. This week, a lady who wishes to remain anonymous says her son, who's just turned 13, is having anger management issues. His friends know exactly what triggers him and they like to wind him up. It's getting him into trouble at school.
Right.
He can also fly off the handle at home, and it takes a lot of reasoning to calm him down, which normally ends in tears. We'll talk through the developmental stage he's at, which gives us a really good anchor to understand what's going on, how to support him so that he develops those anger management skills, and how to spot when it's something a bit more challenging that needs some professional support.
Yeah.
Nuggets. Susie.
Nugget. So my nugget today is the old chestnut that we've talked about before, which is parenting teens goes from being full-time activity on call to part-time of that stuff and full-time availability. So I'm just really aware of that at the moment. That keeps cropping up. So I have a son who's doing A-levels, doing his final exams. I can't do them. I can't do his revision. I can't do the exams. Thank God. But I'm really there for him. Like, I'm driving him to his exams. I'm making sure he's got nice food. I'm nudging him still. You've done that work. My daughter went to a big pop concert at the weekend, and she's still only 15. So, I picked her up and was nearby because it was really hot and one of them felt poorly. I'm available. I'm not there with you, but I'm available when you need. And I think that's just, They
There's a safety net.
It's a safety net, and it's just really
love it.
It's different. It's very different.
Yes.
Really, really, really valuable.
Really valuable. Same here. Yeah. My teenager forgot something again. So she's done this before. I charged her using the allowance for the petrol. We went through this in a previous episode. She's done it again. And this time she called me when I just finished a 1-hour drive, dropping the other one, and I still had another 1-hour drive. It was late. I was tired. I completely lost my rag. I mean, I don't normally do this, but I actually, when I said to her, because normally I say, right, let's think this through. And this time I just said, okay, now I'm really annoyed. Yeah. And the problem was when I said that, then my body went, oh, you're really annoyed, right? Blood.
Yeah.
I actually felt it coursing through my veins, and then I just lost it.
Yeah.
And
because you're human.
Yes, because I'm human, and it's horrible. And
it is horrible.
And I used to, when they were little, I used to pre-warn them, and I'd say, "Mummy, shouty mummy's about to come out." And they'd always go, "Okay," because I don't normally shout because I hate shouting, and because I can feel the loss of control.
Yeah.
So I just said, right, I need to hang up because I'm in the car. I can't even talk about this and think about this right now. And she was trying to be really sweet about it. I then realised that the problem with the system with the allowance, it works very, very well until it doesn't, which is that I had charged her for the petrol for the last time, and we'd gone through this whole system and she'd learned. And then I thought, is it like that situation where when a nursery kept having parents turning up late to collect their kids, they then said, right, there's a £5 fine if you turn up a minute or two, however late you turn up, it's going to be a fine to try and stop the parents doing that. But all you've done was told them how much it costs, and they went, "Oh, I can afford £5." And so, I thought, wait,
I might as well be 20 minutes late then,
right? So that made me think. Actually, am I creating this? And actually, I don't think that's the case. But some of the things I'll talk about in this particular episode really helped me understand what's going on here, because I've realised that she is not just that she's being lazy and difficult. It's a brain development thing.
Yes.
And I
can't wait
need
hear
to
this.
have more patience.
My son, just to add to that, this morning, I totally get that, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Left his PE bag, we thought, on the train, and I went downstairs. I hadn't got clothes, blazer, train ticket, everything in it. Came home, rang round. It was in the boot of the car. So, and this is a regular occurrence of losing things, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Yes, great. So, and before we return to our main subject, we've had feedback from the lady who asked to support her with her son who'd been getting into trouble. That was the delinquent one. She says she's been heaping on the praise for the good things he does, which is what we always say is a really, like, with consequences one.
Yeah.
Increased activities they did together. So they played crazy golf the other day. And she's been saying no to group opportunities where he can get into trouble. And he has pushed back on that. Yeah. But she says the restrictions have made the situation improve.
Okay, amazing.
I think the great thing is when you say, no, you can't go to that thing, for example, him going down to the beach with his mates or whatever. If you've had the discussion with him about how his brain's developing and what's going on, it's easier to say, oh, my mum's, I hate her for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than having to say to your mates, I'm not going to do that because it's a really stupid thing to do.
I always give that. So just tell your mates and your mum says.
Yeah. Be the bad guy. Yeah. So back to the lady whose 13-year-old boy has been struggling with anger. Many parents want their teen to stop being angry. Because they see anger as the problem.
Yes, it's
and
not.
I know you know. Yes, this is your thing. So it's not the problem, is it? So talk about this.
Yeah,
why is anger not the problem?
Well, anger is a feeling, and we don't choose our feelings. It's something that comes up organically and naturally. Anger is a signal. All our emotions, all our feelings are signals. It's our body giving us signals. And anger is a signal that there is something that's out of balance. Usually, something that feels unfair, or we feel badly treated, or it's usually an unfairness thing, or somebody's crossed our boundaries, or we've crossed our own boundaries and are annoyed at ourselves, which comes out as anger and frustration. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a signal. So if we can take it as a signal and respond to that, then it's fine. What happens is we try and get rid of that feeling because we are told through society, and it doesn't feel very nice either, that it's a bad thing. You mustn't be angry, especially for girls. Mustn't be angry. Be calm, quiet girl. Go on, put that away. But the actual feeling is a signal. So we need to sort of stop and go, well, what's it trying to signal?
Yes.
And understand that. What we can't help the feelings that come up, but what we can do and what we have to practice and teach our teenagers and ourselves is we can help the behavior that comes out of the anger. We can respond. The way we respond is completely our responsibility, but that needs practice, and it needs practice. And
as in the chimp paradox, where they say you can't help the thing you were born with, but you do actually have to train it.
But society is very anti-anger, because it's
absolutely.
We want nice, compliant children that do what they're told.
So Maggie Dent wrote a book, From Boys to Men.
Oh, I love her.
And she says exactly what you're saying. She says the thing about being a teenager is it triggers stress in adolescence because things are changing so much. Physical, hormonal changes, cognitive changes, the social landscape changes. Yeah. With boys, there's a man box, which we've talked about in our episode about boy friendships. And this still is prevalent. Yeah. And real men are not supposed to show vulnerable feelings. And anger is the one acceptable emotion for men to express. So this does become quite a big thing with boys. Yeah. And also it can, with girls, they can make a connection with the words, whereas boys often are not encouraged to talk about things so much, so they don't find that it's finding. And we found this when we were talking about anxiety. One of the big problems is finding the words to express the emotions you're feeling, which is very, very tricky.
It's very tricky. And another really important point about anger is nearly always a secondary emotion. So it's not a primary. It's a response to something that is painful. Yes. And that's usually a sort of a sadness or a something else underneath. It's a secondary emotion. Exactly
that. And so particularly with teenagers, becoming a group, which we've talked about before as well, it feels very, very important. It's like life or death. I need to be in this group. And with a teenager who feels that their belonging in the group is threatened, it can trigger stress and anger.
Yes.
So with this boy, his mates know exactly how to press his buttons. It can be a poorly received attempt at banter, which boys love.
Yeah.
Physical connection, like a punch or a shove that goes badly. Someone laughing at you, and the embarrassment from that, because it's that feeling that you've been sort of excluded slightly. It can then turn into anger.
Yeah, banter and all of that only works if the space is safe.
Yes, exactly. And so that anger, if they try and swallow it, can turn into resentment and then become an even stronger rage later. But there's also a physical, so we've talked about that, but so that's a sort of social side of it. But then there's a physical change that's going on with teenagers. There's a significant growth in the limbic or the emotional brain, which we've talked about before a lot. And boys have a very, undeveloped prefrontal cortex, which is the thing that kind of gets them to think.
Yep, nodding.
Yes. and they, because of that, and then the boys have testosterone on top of that, it can then make them catastrophize. When things aren't quite right, the emotional side will ramp up the response, and that inner critic becomes very loud.
Yes. And it's very quick.
Yes, it's very quick. So they will be, the anger can be self-directed criticism turned outward. So now this is a bit that related to my daughter, because it's this synaptic pruning that goes on has a really important impact on the brain. So we know that, the synapses, this is the biggest pruning that ever goes on in our lives, bigger than when they're little. And it increases forgetfulness. It creates poor organization and inability to manage moods. Remembering things, I thought, oh my goodness, yes, it's the remembering things, because what's happening is the pruning is going on. There are little gaps that have been created and connections that have been cut and then reconnected. And one of the things I thought was fascinating, because we do accuse our daughter of this sometimes, mumbling, not speaking articulately.
Oh, how interesting.
It's to do with the pruning. I thought, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yes. And then when you call them out on it, it's embarrassing again. So then it just causes this sense of, there's something wrong with me.
Yes.
No, there's nothing wrong with you're being a teenager.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes,
and
right.
then on top of all of that, we've talked about this sleep debt, which is a massive problem in our teenagers, increases anxiety, emotional outbursts, right?
Forgetfulness.
Forget all of those things that then our teens think, oh, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Right? So Michael Gurian, who's a practical philosopher who's written extensively on nature-based theory, says teen boys particularly tend to attack themselves inwardly.
Yes.
And they feel like a failure, they feel excluded, and the feelings are real, like you said.
Yeah.
What we can do as parents. The first thing is that this relationship that we can develop with our teen boys, where they feel loved, valued and respected, can be balm for all of this. So what that lady has done, where her son was misbehaving, where she's ramped up her feedback when he's doing anything good, is a really, really powerful thing. And it's not, you have to be very precise about what you're praising and for it to be genuine. But notice when they do something right, rather than all the things they're doing wrong, because they are feeling vulnerable.
Yeah. That's so brilliant. That's so important. Actually, my son this morning, when he lost his pee, there's been a catalogue of things. So this was like the final straw. So I was quite annoyed this morning, but I did manage to take myself out of the room, and because he said, "Mum, you're always telling me off," and that's not normal for me and him. So I kind of stopped and had to think about it. But I had thought before we spoke about this, I need to sit him down and we need to sort of work out how to be a bit more structured about stuff. But also I need to remind him of how amazing I think he is as well, and all sorts of other things.
Yes.
And I often say to mine, I love, I will keep him, I like hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with me. It's really fun to hang out with you. Just
always.
I'm really proud of you. Oh, and they'll go, why? Well, why? Just for being you.
Yeah,
and they go, oh,
absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
Which rebalances, doesn't it? Because we are often going, you've forgotten this, you've done that.
Yeah, exactly. And when I lost it with my daughter, I actually managed to say, by the way, I still love you.
Yes.
Even though you've really upset me. So identifying anger in our teen is a team effort. And what I mean by that is helping them be able to see what's going on. So,
and they're probably annoyed at themselves.
Yes.
My son was really annoyed at himself this morning. What have I done now? And that's different from being annoyed.
we don't
at
need to
someone else.
pile on the stress by then telling them they've done something terrible. So the anger characteristics can be internal as well as external. So we know what the external ones, but there are also things like negative self-talk. I'm always saying when my daughter says, "Oh, I'm terrible at this," I just say, "No, you're listening to yourself. Stop it." And self-sabotaging, low self-esteem, all those things, they are all to do with this.
Because we have to actually be that's a really important point I think you're making there. We have to be really careful that they're not internalizing anger, because especially the girls, and that's a massive generalization, but then that can turn into, all those really destructive behaviors of, I don't know, eating disorders, self-harm. That is internalized stuff. Shouting and screaming is much better.
Yes.
Because it's out.
Yes.
It can go the other way. I mean, my daughter sometimes it makes me laugh. She's had some stuff that's happened lately, and she gets quickly very cross. And we all go, oh, run for cover. And other people go, really? We never see that. Yeah, at home she is. It's her safe space. And I go, she says, I'm allowed to be angry. You always say, I'm allowed to be angry. And I go, yeah. Totally agree. You're absolutely allowed to be as angry as you like. However, I don't have to listen to this.
No, quite.
So it's the anger's fine, the behaviours is.
And that's the thing. So it's our feedback and our information on how to manage it that's going to be so valuable.
But
so
better out than in.
Better out than in. And so we'll talk through that. So what can you do to help your angry teenager? And I agree with you. I think girls are told to be nice and to not, and it's important. I keep trying to say to them, you have a right to occupy space. And if you're feeling this, feel free to explain it. So,
and they recognise that actually. My youngest, I was irritated with something the other day, and then later, which I always say, I go, I'm sorry I got annoyed about that. And he went, Mum, you don't have to say sorry for getting annoyed. Of course you're allowed to be annoyed.
He's listening to you.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. So we can model this.
Yeah.
We can model this. We can talk about how it works for us, and then they hear it, and and then they'll hopefully say that to their friends, and it spreads all the joy to everybody. So normalize what's going on. That's the first thing, because they think there's something broken.
Yes.
So talk to them about what's happening with the synaptic pruning and what's happening with and okay, this is a signal. What's the signal? Give them a safe space. Make them feel like we do have children in the community who will really kick off, literally. So they need a safe space. If they're the sort of kid that started destroying things around them, you need to set up a place where they can go and say, okay, no one's going to interrupt you. Go in there, and you can, the things that will calm you down, you can use, whether it's punching something, anything,
which
headphones to play music.
Yeah. And you can also really help them by teaching them to tune in. And we've talked about this before they kick off.
Yes.
So some kids have a really long build up, a long fuse, and some adults do too, where you're, I'm getting annoyed, and I'm getting annoyed. Some people have like a nanosecond where they have no warning, and then they're just rah. And I've said this before on the podcast, but maybe it's worth repeating here.
Always worth repeating.
My eldest, when he was younger, so he was early teenage, can't remember, doesn't matter. He had a very short fuse, which he doesn't really have anymore. He does in some situations, but it's different.
There's hope, listeners.
It's very different. He's very, very different. And he couldn't contain it. So we had a word, and we picked a word. He picked the word, which was flint. And if he said the word flint, then we had a strategy. You need to run into the garden, you need to punch something, you need to do something, or just that awareness that I am now really raging. And then he used it a few years later when he was really annoyed with me about something, and I kept trying to rationalize it or something, and he just looked me in the eye, and I thought we'd forgotten about the word, and he went, flint. And I went, okay, I hear you. I'm going to leave now.
Great.
Brilliant.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
And that's given you a tool that everybody understands.
Yeah, a word.
And also the emotional regulation episode that we talked about, where it's just being able to have tools not to overreact so far, that pause and breathe.
And tune in. What does it feel like to be angry?
Yes.
What does that feel like in my body? Is it like a tingling? Is it like a punch in the stomach? Do my hands go itchy? Does my head so that they're really aware of the physical symptoms of anger, so they can pick it up really quickly.
Yes. It's not that you're broken, just understand your thing. So get them to trying to get them to understand, be self-aware. What to say and what not to say. You can say, I can see your anger. I understand. I totally get it. And you need to let them know you're not demanding anything from them or setting expectations from them at that moment, and avoid further confrontation. When they get angry, trying to punish them or confront them is just going to add problems.
You can't. Their brain has actually gone offline.
Yes.
You cannot have a rational conversation with anybody who is raging.
Yes.
They can't. No. So there's no point. You'll just rage with them, and don't escalate with them.
No. And our listener, she was absolutely lovely, because she said this happens at home and it takes a lot of calming him down, and then he's tearful afterwards because of
horrible.
all the things we've talked about. It feels horrible. And he feels like there's something wrong with him for getting so angry, and it's not what he wants. He's not being a bad person. It's just very difficult to manage. Now, after an angry outburst, like, for example, this situation, you can talk things through in a nice, quiet, neutral tone and explore what happened.
Yes.
And they may say, I don't want to talk about it. And you say, well, let's unpack it, because then you can slowly work up some tools to help yourself. What happened? What was missing?
Yeah.
Could anything have been different for you? What can we do to support you, so that they know that it's not that they're bad, it's that we need to help you with the environment.
And maybe it's really empowering, isn't it? So if he's in a situation at school where these kids who also sound like that's not very nice of them as well, is it? That's a different side of it. But so he feels a bit more empowered. What can I do when this happens again? What strategies do I have? Can I remove myself? And then he'll feel more confident in it as well. Less chaotic and less powerless.
So it's a great point you made. So he's got these kids at school who are supposed to be his friends, who they know what his triggers are. To be honest,
Not
when
cool
I was a kid, my sister would say, please don't do that. No, don't do that. She wouldn't say please. She'd say, don't do that. And I'd say, what, this?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And I would do it more, because, you think, oh, this is entertaining. So, they're being kids, right?
They are, and maybe they've crossed the line as well.
They've crossed the line. And so we know that we've talked about how this, personal relationship with your friends can tip over into something that's unpleasant when they don't realise that what they're doing, or they do realise, but it seems fun and entertaining.
And then they repeat it and they know that they're causing pain. It's not cool.
Bored, let's, kick him. Cool. Yeah. So for her son, she can create a list of his triggers. So get him to sit down and say, what is it that they're doing that's pissing you off? Yeah. And look at them daily. So I've got this brilliant worksheet. I've linked it in the podcast. Print it off, because it's really got some good tips.
Brilliant.
So create the list of the triggers, and you can keep adding to it. Yeah. Look at it daily, because otherwise you'll forget what it is. Review the triggers so that they're fresh in your mind. And then you can have a plan for how to avoid those things when you're tired and you're not capable. You're already feeling a bit stressed. So if his mates, he knows that this thing triggers him, he can walk away from the situation, or you can talk through what is it that you could possibly do in that situation, or you could feed back and say, use the Flint word and say, guys, you do this, it's going to piss me off, and I don't want to get into trouble with the school, and whatever's going to work, because I don't know the dynamic with those friends.
Yeah, and if it's possible to have a conversation with them, I don't know.
You just don't know. So maybe. She needs to talk this through with her son, keeping an anger log. So have the triggers. So those are because, like you said, anger is a signal. So what's the signal about? What are the triggers? And then keep an anger log and try and think, what was happening before? Was I hungry? Was I stressed? What other things were happening around me? Because sometimes they're a response to your environment.
Yes, absolutely. And the less reactive he is, the less interesting it is to...
Less interest. Exactly. And that's how it diffuses. Because once they know he won't, and we know, my husband's got a WhatsApp group with a whole load of mates of his, and the banter on there is severe. And really, sometimes I look at it and go, oh, And they know, like, this guy's like an old woman, you know, and he'll do this, and they press his buttons because they know that it's very funny. And he's older now, so he's able to take it. But every now and then I go, I think that might be a bit too much. Can you not?
Yeah.
You know?
And it is, I mean, in a school environment, if that's going on, that's a form of bullying. That's not cool.
It is a form of bullying.
And we all, you know, we all see it, you know, if it's just against one person who is reacting, so it's two things, isn't it? It's teaching him how to manage it and to be less reactive and to manage his anger, which is a really great skill to have because he obviously finds that difficult. And it's also acknowledging that actually that's not really cool of them, even though we understand banter, even though we
completely agree.
It's all you know, part of being a teenager, that to be picking on one particular kid, that's not cool. And
can we think of words that he can use with his group to say, mate, that's not cool. You know, stop that one because that's not funny anymore.
And maybe I need some different friends.
Or just feed, because sometimes, you know, they think it's entertaining and they haven't realised how much they're overstepping the mark. So him being able to say, right, you need to stop that.
Don't like that.
And and sometimes he needs to be able to express himself, and if he can't, then he's not in the right group.
But it is a little bit like siblings, but it's different when it's not your family. But it's if the space is safe. I mean, my kids are brutal with each other now. Now they all get on really well, and they are brutal. And yet everybody knows that, and they're brutal with me as well. But then we know that that's okay.
But that's shorthand for having a great relationship. So what the point I'm trying to make is that these boys may not really be conscious that, because we can say that's bullying and that's nasty, but actually they may not be conscious that they're really overstepping the mark with him. And part of being in a relationship is being able to get some feedback and say, you know what? No.
And them learning from it too. It's really good. You're absolutely right, because it's a group thing. And they don't realise.
They don't realise how much it's impacting his life. Breathe. So the PAR thing, using diversions and practicing timeouts. So there are lots of things you can use in your armoury. I want to quickly touch on how we know if actually it's something that perhaps professional help would be important with. I was listening to a therapist the other day, and she said, you know, I'm worried because I keep getting people coming to me as soon as something goes wrong. And I'm a therapist and I want to make money, but I don't want these parents using me before they've exhausted all the opportunities at home for their relationship with their kid, because this triangle develops and I become the good guy. And we don't want that. We want them to, and their parent to be the good guys together, looking out at problems. So she said, try everything before, you know, try the things before. So
you're absolutely right. And also a point in that is that we need to look at our own relationship to anger, because we've, as a society, find anger really confronting. We don't generally like it. We want to get rid of it. So what is your relationship to anger, and how do you manage your own?
Such a great point. And that's, again, you can listen to those episodes where we covered these things, because knowing ourselves makes it possible.
Because if we don't like anger, if we find anger really difficult, we're going to want to get rid of it in our kid.
Yes, absolutely. Problems with anger can accompany other conditions like ADHD, autism, obsessive compulsive disorder, Tourette syndrome. So there can be other underlying things that they may already have been noticed. Or so just realise that these things can come together. Their genetics can play a role, family dysfunction, certain parenting styles like harsh or inconsistent punishment. What they do to try and treat anger issues is there'll be cognitive behavioural therapy and parent management techniques. So teaching other ways to handle the misbehaviour, focusing on positive reinforcement rather than punishment for transgressions, emphasising positive interaction within the family and trying to get the family to enjoy spending time together, because you made such a great point. It's a signal that something's not right.
And often particularly with teenagers, and if it's not, you know, on the spectrum type outbursts, then it's when teenagers don't feel seen and heard, if they don't feel
100%.
Listened to, like really listened to, because often if you know, sit down, and we know it for ourselves, don't you? This is actually how I feel. And then by the end of you've told, and somebody's really heard you and really listened, not fixed it, just really listened and really heard, you go, oh.
Yes, the listen until they feel understood.
Dissolves.
Luffy. Exactly. And understanding that it's really important to be respectful of the things that matter to your teenager. You may think that they're not important, but that's not going to help them.
Yeah. And it's the class, they come home and they feel like they've been unfairly treated at home, or they've got tons of homework. And sometimes we step in and go, oh, yeah, but that's really important. You need to do that. Oh, that's so annoying.
Yes. Oh, and it was much harder for me when I, competitive.
Oh, that sounds really annoying.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
End. Love it. Yeah, they totally feel seen.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Have you had any experience of anger issues either with yourself or with your teens? Have you used any of our techniques? Have you found them useful? What is the most useful thing for you? We'd love to hear, because we always mention these things because we're kind of trying to help each other.
Yeah.
We're all trying to learn as we go along.
Really helpful. And there's nothing wrong with anger, but our management of it is really important.
I remember Grace Jones being interviewed, and he said, gosh, you really get angry. And she said, yes, I got a stomach ulcer and I've realised it's much more important to express my anger.
Oh, brilliant. Exactly that. Exactly. Because there's a massive difference between clean anger and resentment.
Yes.
Like, you've done that. I've experienced that. I'm really annoyed.
Yes.
That's clean anger, and that's really just, but resentment and that goes into the stomach ulcer.
Exactly. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then help other parents, tell your friends, tell the school, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
And give us a review. You can also sign up to receive all the latest at our own website, where there's a blog, reviews, links to every episode, and easy ways to contact us both. It's www.teenagersuntangled.com. Don't forget to check out Susie. She's on Instagram. She gives lots and lots of great tips there. Also her website, which is
www.mindful-life.co.uk, and you can book a free chat with me on that if you so fancy.
And lots of fantasy. She has a blog. The blog's really good. So many great tips on there. So don't forget to have a look at that. That's it for now. Goodbye.
Bye for now.